Hello. Welcome to RoboPie. Robotics. Perceptrons. Semantic AI. Conceptual RI.
Okay, we'll take a look at a schematic I already drew up. This is a project in KiCad. We're going to open the schematic by pressing on this button here. This is the schematic. Now I drew the schematic actually in a similar way that the printed circuit board is laid out. So that will be helpful for this video. The green lines in this schematic are the wires that connect components. All of the other junk is components or various different parts. Now, in the schematic, symbols are used to display the components. So if we're going to zoom right in on this area, and we'll see here we have a U1 chip, which is a memory chip. It's a 24C256. And this is the schematic symbol for this chip. It's an 8-pin dual inline package. I have it in the chip. I have it here upside down with 1 starting on the bottom. That's okay. You can put them in however you want. It's just a schematic. Over here is the symbol for resistors, R1 and R2. Over here we have a symbol for a 6 switch dip switch. That's marked SW1. And these are just symbols. This is so that we can wire this all up. The symbols will eventually have footprints associated with them. The footprints are what go on the printed circuit board. Footprints have to be exactly as the components truly are. But these symbols in the schematic can be whatever you want them to be, well, however you like to draw them up. They're totally just for your own information. If I press the home key, it brings us back to where we can see the whole shebang. I'm going to zoom in on this part here by simply putting the mouse cursor here and scrolling in with my mouse wheel. And now we can see that we have some LEDs over here. These are the symbols for light emitting diodes. We have some more symbols for some resistors here. We have some symbols for some push button switches along the bottom here. And we have a symbol for a capacitor. I'd like to also bring your attention to these little tiny marks here, L1, L2, and L3. These are actually net labels that I put in to label the nets, these particular wires. These are labels for these wires. We can also see, I'll go back to the home, and we'll zoom in on this upper part, and you can see that there are more labels up here. Emergency stop, MC6, MC1, interrupt 1, interrupt 0, and so on. I put those in to label those wires so that when we're in the printed circuit board editor, we can actually see what the names of the wires are. Again, press the home key. It takes us back out. So this is the schematic, and this is just so a schematic representation of the electronic circuit, and you can draw this up however you like. It doesn't matter. As I say, I've drawn this up so that it matches the layout of the PC board. But most people don't even bother to do that. You might want to put all your inputs here and all your outputs at this side, and that may not be what's on your actual PC board. So now let's close out of the schematic and look at the printed circuit board editor. Now in the printed circuit board editor, you can see again the similar layout. This is the dip switch. This is the footprint for the dip switch. Notice that it's different from the schematic symbol. This has to be exactly the same as an actual dip switch, a dual inline package switch that would be soldered into the board. This is the schematic symbol for that memory chip, which is an 8-pin dip. And remember, number 1 was down here, so it's facing to the bottom of the board. These two next to each other are footprints for a couple resistors that we saw in the schematic. If we look over here, we see the footprints for the light emitting diodes, the associated resistors, the push button switches, and the capacitor. The red lines here would be the same as the wires were. The green lines were wires in the schematic. Here they are traces on the printed circuit board. The red lines are the traces that are on the top of the board, and the bottom of the board would have green lines. We don't show these here. We can see them. I think we turn that on. Here. The whole bottom of the board is the ground plane. We'll get into that later. So this is the printed circuit board editor, and it has footprints associated with it. The schematic has symbols associated with it. There is a correspondence between the symbols and the footprints. Every symbol has to be associated with a specific footprint. We'll get into that later. Another feature I would like to show you here is the 3D viewer. The 3D viewer will allow you to see what your printed circuit board will look like when it's actually completed, with the parts soldered onto it and everything. Notice here the light green are the traces that we just saw on the printed circuit board editor. These are connectors. Here's the dip switch. Here's the memory chip. There's a couple resistors. Over here are LEDs, more resistors, push button switches, and a capacitor. We can also move this around and look at it from whatever angle we want. This is a 3D view of the finished circuit board. We can flip it all the way around, look at the back of it, and we can even look right down the side of it and see all the pins sticking out. It's pretty cool the way they do this. Now, you can also draw up your own three-dimensional figures. Notice that there wasn't any for these two connectors here. I couldn't find any. You can draw these up yourself, but that's a whole other situation. You need to use a different 3D program to do that. So let's go ahead and quit out of the 3D viewer, and we'll quit out of the printed circuit board editor. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, why would that happen? Yeah, go ahead and discard changes. Huh. The reason that surprised me is because I didn't quit the actual program. I only quit the PC board layout editor. We still have KiCad up and running. So anyway, that's about it. Now we're going to go in and actually start and design a printed circuit board. We're going to do an Arduino Shield, but it's going to be a different one. So we'll go do that now.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And if you can help, please support the channel. Thank you.